So yeah, just kind of you can start just tell me about like what prompted you to join the program and the marriage mastery program. What was going on with your situation in your marriage?
My wife and I went away for a weekend trip, or actually like a week long trip to Mexico. And while we were there, hoping to have this great vacation where we're going to reconnect and, what felt like we were sort of disconnected for a while. I thought, it would be a great time to rekindle some romance and, get things kind of jump started in the right direction again. So we'd been
Yeah.
looking forward to this vacation. And when we got there, actually things were really started off pretty bad, and they went from bad to worst. And we were constantly just not connecting well, having a lot of disagreements about where we were in our relationship. And she basically told me like she felt like we had grown so apart that to her it just seemed like we weren't in a good place, and divorce was the best thing. And that was like completely shocking to me. Completely caught me off guard. I did not expect that at all. I just got into this desperate mode of trying to save things, and everything I was saying and doing was making things worse. And I just put nails in the coffin is all I did. And she was absolutely confident she wanted a divorce. Turned out, it was huge. There were problems that she had been harboring that she really wasn't sharing with me, and she was certain she wanted a divorce. So, and then I get a Josh Hudson marriage mastery ad that pops up during one of the videos that I was going to watch. And when I began to start watching that video, it described for me the situation that I was in. And man, it just identified a problem with like where I was in terms of the guy that I was, and the guy that she no longer was attracted to. And somebody had stepped in that was filling that role that she was attracted to. It was identifying everything that I was doing wrong in the
Right.
relationship,
Right.
like every mistake that I was making, like you were really calling it out. And like I just was like, how does this guy know exactly what's going on in my relationship?
Yeah.
I have a 26-year marriage that my wife wanted to end, and I was still madly in love with her. I was nowhere near ready to give up, and I was completely caught off guard by this, and I just didn't know what steps to take. And I found out that my daughter, who I thought I was buddies with, is advocating for the divorce.
Mhm.
So, man, I really started working on, like, I want to be my daughter's hero. I want her to love me and be rooting for me. And I
Mhm.
want her to know I've got her back. I want her to know I care deeply about her problems and her hurts and her pains. So, man, I took that as like, I've got to turn my relationship around with her.
But speaking of like, where are you at right now with your wife? How would you describe how things have changed?
And I was letting her know about my progress without any kind of expectation from her. But what was going on was she was getting deeper and deeper into that relationship, and it became a marriage proposal, and she accepted. And she had replaced my ring with his ring.
I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah, that actually happened the night we came home from our trip. So I asked her, will you end the relationship, start working on these things, and then at some point, let's work on our marriage if you feel like at that point you're ready to do that. But I'm not even asking you to do that right now. Before we can work on our relationship, you got to end this thing. You've got to start thinking about self care, and um, this can't continue as it is. And I said, if it does turn into adultery, that will get you the divorce that you want, because I do not want divorce. I don't believe in divorce. It goes against every value I have as a man that is committed to you, that vowed to you that I would love and protect and serve you until I die. That is the one exception I have. If you're going to choose another man, then yeah, you'll get the divorce that you want. And she said, do I have to give you an answer now? I said, no, I know it's a lot to process. Why don't you give it some thought? And 3 days later, she called me and she said, it's adultery. And I said, okay, well, I know what I need to do then.
What do you think you did in your side of things to make her feel like being with you is a better option for her to minimize it? What in your power did you change or do differently to show her that? Besides the allies you created with your daughters and the CLC reports, what else did you do on a larger scale?
Well, on the larger scale, what I learned a lot about from your program is, I'm going to, for lack of a better term, call it unconditional love. That as we're working through the program, we don't love in the sense that we're hoping to get something in return. We don't establish some kind of covert contract that if I do these wonderful husband things, that I'm going to get the reward of my wife coming back to me.
Yeah.
I have to do it with this commitment to be the best man that I can be. And what she saw me do for 6 weeks was, as she was terrible to me and as she was ice cold to me and cut me out of her life,
Yeah.
she saw me not giving up on my love for her, not giving up on our marriage.
Mhm.
Every time divorce came up, I said, I'm not accepting marriage. I love you. You're my soulmate. I'm not accepting defeat. I'm not accepting that this is over. And I will fight until the bitter end, because I know that in the end, I can be the best man for you. And I know that you will only be happiest with me. I know that you will have huge regrets if you give up on this marriage. So, because I know I am the best thing for you, I'm not giving up. That was a Sunday. And by Tuesday night, we were intimate. Like, you can't make this stuff up, Josh. You know, I mean, and like, we've already talked to therapists and we've told them where we are, and they're like, this is unheard of. People don't reconcile this strong and this fast. We're 2 weeks in, and I feel like I'm more in love with her than I've been in years, Josh.
One question I like to ask when we wrap up here, way over time, that's totally okay on my end. I don't know if it's okay on yours. Um, One question I like to ask is like, if you could speak to yourself 2 months ago, what was one thing that you now know that your past self needed to hear about this whole process?
Man, I just need to 2 months ago wasn't soon enough though, Josh.
Mm.
I need to go back 6 months, and I would tell myself, don't complain to your wife about what you're not getting. Tell your wife how much that you love the connection that you have with her.